Coming to you from Quarantine, New York, Under the Radar and Nostalgia Time with Kid Champagne proudly presents Titus 20th Anniversary Special Interview with Zack Ward and David Shatraw with Randy Unger and Matthew Haberman.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us today. This is amazing. We've got the Titus 20th reunion show tonight. And right now we've got actors from the show, Titus, Zack Ward and David Shatraw. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, Zack.
Hey, buddy. How you doing, pal?
Good morning. Good morning. Wow, your background's much nicer than mine.
Yeah.
How do you like the background he's got working there? Isn't that pretty cool?
I love everyone's background.
No, not your background. The Titus background. Wait, what? Did I something I said?
I love it. Very cool, guys. Very well. I'm just curious. So 20 years ago, what was it like meeting Christopher Titus for the first time, and what did you guys think of him?
What was that question again?
What was it like meeting Christopher Titus for the first time, and what did you think of him?
Oh God, it was so long ago. Yeah, it was so long ago. I don't remember meeting him the first time. It was him, Jack, and Brian. Actually, I had a what do they call it? A Shatraw when you go a pre-read.
Pre-read, me too.
I had a pre-read.
Oh, you're freezing up.
Everybody about, and
there you go. You froze up.
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah,
you're lagging a little bit.
Up. Yeah.
Well, he tries to figure his stuff out. I'll tell you what happened with me.
All right.
It looks fine on my side. Just you know.
Okay.
Right.
Go ahead. So what happened? So you had a pre-read, and then what?
So, anyways, I would get all the breakdowns illegally back in the day so that I could find out what the options were for auditions and photocopy them and write them all out and figure out what I was right for. And I would go and see, and I was poor. I was doing construction, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, motorcycle in the rain, and then changing my clothes in the bathroom. I used a garbage bag as a raincoat because I couldn't afford an actual rain jacket. I'd go in there and I'd hand out all the sides, all the downs that I'd photocopied, and I'd bitch at them and be like, hey, why didn't I go up for this thing? Why didn't I go up? And just, agents love that stuff. So I got around to all the different rooms, and people were like, they were busy. I can't talk to you. And then Sue Wold was one of my agents at the time, and she looked at it and she goes, okay, that went to a name.
Zack.
Name, fat kid. They want a Jewish kid, Chinese kid.
Right.
Breaking at the end.
Chinese.
Is my thing breaking again?
Yeah, a little bit.
You're lagging a little bit. You're freezing. You're all right though. You're still there.
Yeah.
That's strange. Must be my internet feed. And anyway, she looked at the Titus show and she said, "Yeah, that'd be perfect for you. I don't know why I did not submit." And she picked up the phone and she called Sheila 3, and she asked Sheila if I could audition. And she recommended me and said, would Zack pre-read? And she looked at me. So I went in the next day and pre-read. And then she said, good, but it's more like a low-budget film, like a film, don't do it on me. And then I went in the next day for Jack and Brian and Chris. And then I did like 4 or 5 more times and got the job.
Nice. Awesome.
David, your turn.
David, please.
Yeah, mine's pretty much similar. I was out from New York out to LA for pilot season. I got this audition. I, like Zack, did a pre-read. For those of you who don't know what a pre-read is, it's before you even talk and see producers. They're going to just have a casting director just screen you. It's a real quick 1 minute, blah, blah, blah. Then you go on to the next one. I had 7 auditions for this. Wow. I got all the way down to the very end. I did pre-read, read, producer, studio, network callback, and then I booked it. And it was between me and another guy. We went in on Friday. They took the weekend and gave us 2 scenes over the weekend. A scene over the weekend said, come back on Monday, just you 2. Or it's apples and oranges. We can't figure it out. Let's see what happens. Titus was in it like with Jack, Jack and Brian, and all the studio all Fox Network studio. It's like 25 people in a room staring at your face. And it was
Pretty
between
intimidating.
me and another guy. And I don't know what happened to this other guy. I got the gig, and I think he disappeared. Maybe you guys heard of Steve Carell.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what happened to him. Poor guy. I think I just devastated him when I took the job. But Steve was actually up for it with me, and he's such an amazingly great and gracious guy. We had a good time auditioning, and I was fortunate enough to grab that one. He's fine. Steve Carell is doing fine, so I'm not worried.
Zack.
But yeah, it's just it was a long process because with Zack and I, sometimes it's offer only. Sometimes you come right into network. That's the hardest part about this is when you go all the way through the process to the very end and you get to network and you figure, all right, it's just me and a couple other guys. And you've seen those guys come in. At the very end, here comes freaking half the cast of Friends, all these other guys on television shows that just ended. It's their first audition. They get called in. So I'm like, oh, great, there's Matthew Perry. Isn't that fantastic? It's like, but, it worked out well for this one. And Christopher Titus was very gracious. We read with him. We did the whole scene with him, my scene, I'm sure with Zack. And yeah, he's a frenetic ball of energy. He's exactly the way you would expect him to be. He talks to you a mile a minute, really quick, tells you what to do, then changes it halfway through, and then turns around and walks away and goes, got it? And you're like, yeah, I guess so.
That is awesome. So, to David and Zack, can you describe your characters from Titus in your own point of view?
Zacklicious?
Much cooler than David.
Oh.
Thank you. Very succinct. I always called myself the Marilyn Munster of the group. If you're familiar with Addams Family, it was that cast of characters, and then there was Marilyn Munster, who looks like she just didn't belong, and that was me. And I'm also coming off of Fresh Prince. I was the White Carlton.
That's something.
Can't go wrong with it. Can't go wrong with a sweater vest.
Yeah, something that it's a great thing to strive for. So Zack, what would you say is your favorite episode?
So many. Tommy's Not Gay is one of my favorites for a lot of reasons. Gosh, the one where we're up on top of a bridge, the one where we're
The free jump one.
yeah, the base jumping one.
Base jumping, yeah.
Yeah. The pilot. I mean, there's 54 of them, and I think there's only a couple that I didn't like. But there's so many that are really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. For me, same thing. Tommy's Not Gay is my favorite one, hands down, for all the reasons why, the message of why it's important to even keep talking about it today. It was even 20 years ago. It's all the same stuff. But as far as the other ones, I loved Intervention, getting Papa Titus to start drinking again, to get him out of his depression. I loved it's not Mom's Not Nuts, it's Zack. It's the one where Frances Fisher, we go back in to prevent her from getting out. She's got her meeting. It's when you go with the guy, you're playing checkers with.
I vaguely remember doing it, and I don't remember the name of the episode at all.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, and any of the Thanksgiving episodes were really good. I love the Thanksgiving ones. And,
a perfect Thanksgiving.
was that there was a couple of different ones. There was one where the first woman who played the mom drugged us all with tryptophan, or drugged us all with Myoset, and we fell asleep into it. The other one that was a really good one was that we shot it backwards. It was Aaron's family and Titus's family all together. It was when Titus was going to ask Aaron to marry her, and in the engagement, and they were going to get married, and we all ended up in the emergency room. And then so Zack and I, our characters went and made out of I don't know, downstairs, made a fake Christmas dinner, and the whole family did it over a, what do you call, a stretcher, one of those things. That was an excellent episode because it took place in the emergency room. I love that one. Awesome. And of course, the very last one, The Protector. There was two. The ones they're showing tonight are they were what's the word? Controversial, because it's about the plane. We were on a plane and we brought a plane down and made emergency land, and it was right after 9/11, which they were not happy about, the network. And the last one was The Protector. It was about sexual assault on a teenager. That Titus's niece, Aaron's niece. That we did a lot of stuff that pushed the envelope for being a cast that was human, not animated. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah, the weird thing is, like, for me, and I apologize for being kind of vague about it, is that rewatching the episodes, I swear to God, it's like I watch them and then I go, oh yeah, I did that, because it's so long ago, and I don't really remember the shows. Sometimes you don't remember the show from what you guys watch in the show. You remember from the experience of doing the show as opposed to seeing it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I like that episode on the houseboat with what's his face who committed suicide with a belt in the closet, David Carradine. So I forgot. Yeah. I mean, I totally forgot that until I saw it, I didn't remember that we had done it because I wasn't thinking about it. But then I'm like, oh my God, we did this thing, and there's
with David Carradine.
David Carradine, you know, it's like, so it's amazing because every time you watch it, it's really egregiously edgy. It keeps on pushing boundaries in a way that makes me uncomfortable now.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about Tommy's Not Gay. And pretty much all of Stacy's lines would be was in 2020 would be Archie Bunkerish. I mean, he pulls out race card stuff. He says things completely inappropriate. The racism, bigotry, womanizing, sexual assault, homophobia, judgment, sexual assault. I think I said that. Breaking the law, drinking and driving, DUI. I mean, we did all of that stuff, but made it funny. Yeah. So today, with the cancel culture and with everyone being very, very politically correct, I don't think the show would never be a network show. It would be probably a pay show, like a Netflix or a Hulu or something like that, because it wouldn't pass the network lawyers now.
And I mean, you just mentioned some really heavy, deep, dark topics. Was it difficult as actors basically balancing the line between comedy and drama?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So no.
And that was one of the things that we learned. I felt like I learned a great deal through the process, working with the rest of the cast and then also working in front of a live audience. There is a thing that you never know how things are going to work until they work or they don't work.
Yeah, agreed.
You get a script and you think that it's the greatest line in the world, and you rehearse it all week, and then in front of a live audience, it just dies.
It dies.
Like in Tommy's Not Gay, you read the script and you're like, oh, that's cool. But then you watch the episode, like when you shoot the episode, and I'm kissing David Shatraw on a pool table in a bar, and like I'm kissing him. And I say, do you like that? He goes, no. I'm like, then you're not gay. Now there's two other things I can try. And he's like, no. And it's hilarious. And the audience is just dying. They're dying. And then it cuts to the neutral space, the black and white. And he talks about, what's his face?
Matthew Shepard.
Matthew Shepard was beat to death and hung on a fence post because he was gay. And he thinks that as the camera slowly pushes in. And the audience was dead silent.
Dead silent, yeah.
Just like you can hear a pin drop or a baby fart. That might be your thing. A baby fart action for you, bro. Yeah. That's how the mute button works, baby. So, you never knew how they were going to respond until you got it on its feet. You had the pacing, because and that's why I think we were very gifted, not only would we not be able to say and address this type of content without it being on a paid channel? But we got to have 500 people up in that audience. It was a big audience, and in real time, you got this feedback. And I've said this many times before, and David's heard it. It's like being in front of an audience like that is like being at the beach, standing in the water up to your ankles, closing your eyes, and you can feel the wave come and go. Mm-hmm. So you have the ability to just ride that momentum and that energy.
Yeah.
So it was an incredible thing.
Yeah, I agree completely. And Titus had a thing where he liked to do with the writing. He'd get you all the way to the very end. And just when you thought this is going to like go dark or inappropriate, then comedy came in. And that kind of just took the air out of it. But the message was still there. And
yeah,
you kind of remember that.
The writers were fantastic. I mean, they just like Jack and Brian and Chris Titus just destroyed. But they led that, and there are a lot of great writers in that writers' room. But yeah, they did amazing work. They really did cutting edge stuff.
Definitely, for sure. Wow. So I'm just curious, guys. What was it like on set? Was there a camaraderie between you and the other cast members? Did you get along well?
There was fear.
Okay.
Never mind.
Well, yeah, I'll pick this up. Cynthia said something actually kind of funny on the Titus family reunion shot that for the show that you're going to see tonight. She said, I was thinking about this the entire time we were together as a cast for 54 episodes. She said we not once did anything outside of the work. We didn't like casts go out to dinner, they hang out, whatever, it's weekends or hiatus. We didn't. And it's not a reflection of that we didn't get along. I think it was just at that time, married, responsibilities, going home, back and forth. But when we stepped back into the table read about three and a half weeks ago, it was, I know it's cliche, but it was literally just like we hadn't missed a beat. Mm-hmm. We just looked older, but we all sounded the same. We all had the same rhythm. We all had the same beats. I think as a cast, we got along famously well. We just were not this love you, man, see you, bye.
Well, but also okay, so 20 years ago, I was married but no children, and my relationship was not going well. You had just had kids. Your kids were a couple of years old.
Yeah, I had my two kids when I moved to LA.
And they were
four and one. Yeah,
4 and 1. While we were shooting, then Cynthia got pregnant in the second season.
Yep, with twins,
and she had some family stuff going on. She had some family responsibilities prior. Christopher Titus was nonstop busy. He was starting to have kids then too, but he was also writing and there was no downtime.
Yeah.
Keach was a grown-ass man and didn't want to hang out with a bunch of idiots. And I was the youngest dummy on board, and I was having a great time. And nobody could stand me, so we all kind of went our own.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Titus 2.0 where it's just you guys and the kids take over. I guess the next generation. I think that'd be awesome.
You haven't met the kids. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
Not a fan of Shatraw's kids or Cynthia's kids or Titus's kids. Yeah, exactly. But I know them. I watched them from outside.
That's what restraining orders are for.
Okay.
Didn't he say
they can't catch me? They can't catch me.
Didn't he say in one of his specials that he has to go to the restraining order brunch at some times every year?
Wait, I missed that question.
Didn't he say in one of his comedy specials that he has to always go to renew the restraining order every year?
Oh, probably time. Yeah. Well, I'm not speaking on behalf of Christopher at all about his divorce, but let's just say it didn't go well, and he made a whole special about it. So I'm sure if there's anything you need to know, you can just click on that special. But yeah.
Now, other than yourselves, who did you think was the most funniest in the show?
It was all different. Stacy Keach dropped one-liners. He was a
Yeah.
hitman. He was a hitman with the punchlines. That's what Stacy was. Cynthia was very funny, but she had that softness. She kind of like Jennifer Aniston to me, a little bit, you know?
A little bit.
And then Chris Titus was Daffy Duck. Yeah.
Meets Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the funniest character was, well, of course, not. I'm just saying this because I'm staring at his stupid face. But Zack took a very easy character just to play dumb and be dumb, but he wrapped it up in empathy, sympathy. He had Zack's character. Dave was the kind of person that, and this came out in Tommy's Not Gay. It doesn't matter what the situation.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm part of you. I'll do whatever you need me to do. And if it's like, we have to have a fight. Oh, okay. Who are we fighting? Doesn't matter. He just goes, I'm with you. I support you. I'm going with you. That unbridled support and energy, I thought, made his character very endearing. And he always had that great little thing where he got his voice, and he would do stuff like that, which is, it's never not funny. But it's also really hard to play. It's very hard to play a character that you expect it to be dumb when he thinks he's really smart. And that was the beauty of it, especially lines like when you thought vaginas talk and you went, it talks. Like stuff like, and when Stacey had angina.
It was like, that's my angina talking. He's like,
it talks. But commitment. I think, like Zack had said, he goes, we were highly paid monkeys. But I agree with him, but unless there's 100% commitment behind that, it falls flat. So
yeah, that's it. And thanks for that. In the beginning,
$10.
I based I based my character on my dog. I based my character on my idea of a dog, because a dog is your best friend no matter what, even when you're a drunken asshole. Or you make mistakes, the dog is there and loves you. And you can smack your dog, and then the second you're like, come here, guy, he's right back in there and he's your boy.
Yeah, he holds zero grudge.
Yeah, it's like a goldfish. Every 30 seconds, you're back? Whoa, it's you again. Almost like your baby over there. Just, that's, and the same thing for David. Like, not that they pat each other on the back, but roles that were written to be at tertiary, because really the leads of the show are Chris Titus, Stacy Keach, Cynthia. That is the circle of the story dynamic. Son has problem with dad, wife intervenes to stop them from killing each other, and we're the two idiots on either side that are diametrically
bookends.
Yeah, we're the odd couple. I'm the sloppy idiot, and he's the anal retentive fuck.
Yep.
It's exactly how we worked it. And then
I think you guys are the glue that holds everything together, honestly.
I don't think so. I think that's very nice of you. I think that what we found in that show that was such a beautiful balancing act is when you do a show and writers write the show, they don't know you. They haven't met you. They're learning you as you're learning the role, and you play with it and you find things. If you watch Shatraw's performance, his execution of physical comedy and the level of precision he gets in there is insane. Like, it's just, watch any of the episodes, the type of stuff that he does physically and then the subtlety to it. I go the other way. My physical is very broad. And I'm over the top. He keeps it very tight and very concise, but we're doing similar things.
Yeah.
I think that if you just had Titus, Stacy, and Cynthia, I think it would wear you out. And I think if you just had these two idiots, I think it would wear you out. And I think with having the five of us, you're able to ping pong. So as soon as one dynamic, you're like, I've had enough, you're starting to bore me, or even before that, the writing can pop to give you a break somewhere else.
Right.
I think that's, what really worked well.
Yeah, we're jolts of energy. Bing, bing, bing.
Awesome. And I just want to step aside from Titus a bit. You guys have, very long, great careers in film and TV. Do you prefer one over the other, or are they pretty much the same to you?
David?
Well, for me, it's only been TV. I've been in 4 films, and there have been really tiny roles. Years ago, when I first started out, I probably can't say it because it's a swearing, but they said TV is likability, film is something else when you want to have sex with somebody. It's the F word.
Oh my God.
Grandma,
Granny, are you okay?
I
Did you take your medication, Grandmama?
I don't know what the protocol is.
Grandmama.
TV is likability, film actors are F-ability. How about that? All right? Shut it. And I think and that holds true. TV, you're invited into their house every week. You make appointments to see them. You watch them in bed. You watch them in the comfort of your home. Movie stars, you go to the used to go to the movie theater, cinema and stuff. But for me, I always TV. I'd love to be in another show. I'd love to, drama or comedy. It's funny because after Titus, most of the stuff that I booked for the past 20 years have been 1-hour dramas. So, and
But you're very depressing, so it works.
David, just do a show, you and Steve Carell, your brothers, one's a bachelor, one's married, and that dynamic. I don't know. It's an idea.
But if I could find him, the poor guy, he's not answering my calls.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Now, I know that tonight we'll be airing the
It's so great that the baby started right when you talk. He's like, get off
It's
this.
called timing.
Sorry.
All right.
Tonight we'll be airing.
While Matt tends to his child.
Oh, by the way, I have a segue, but this is fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's a little thing for you kids at home. If you're now, this is more valid, more pertinent prior to COVID-19, because back in the heydays, when you got on a plane and you were trying to get a good seat, people would basically climb all over you to get that seat, and you couldn't hold the seat. But I came up with a way to do that, where I would walk up with a.
Where is this going?
Where's this? I'm so scared. What are you doing, Zach?
That's my baby noise. Can you hear it?
Hey, come over here. Hi, guys. I want to meet Jane.
Oh, Jane. It's okay.
Can you hear mine?
You're getting upstaged by the real thing.
So what I do is I put a baby crying sound on my phone, and I put it in my jacket, and I just do that.
That's brilliant.
And I just sit there because it's not technically illegal. And I just go like this, and when people walk by, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Ooh, I'm so sorry. And it's actually worked, but my wife keeps on cracking up all the time. But it's a crying baby on your phone. Next time you have to sit beside someone and just do this. It's the best.
Smart.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back, Matt.
That's what you do when you're trying to learn the Ken Titus way of being a father.
Oh, you go to jail for that, Ted.
Good Jim out. Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, Zach, I'll be honest with you. I actually have never seen the show up until maybe about a month ago. Very first time, Matt was gracious enough. He introduced me to the Titus world. And I was like, Zach Ward, wait, so he was in A Christmas Story, right? So what was it like going from that early performance to just like jumping ahead to this character?
Well, there was like 20 years in between those two things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just gotta throw that out there.
I know, but how was evolution like?
Well, let's see. I did Christmas Story when I was 13 years old, and I did Titus when I was 29. So inside those 16 years, I lived in my mom's basement. I was held in a closet. I was fed grapes through a small vent, and I had a giant hamster water bottle
Good.
And I just ran and yeah. So I was like in peak physical condition, but I hadn't been socialized in a couple of decades.
Okay.
It's very scary.
Good.
No, you know, I had been, if you look at my IMDb, you'll see that I grew up in Canada and I didn't move to the United States until I was 25. My father's, both my mom and my dad are American citizens. And so I have 2 passports. So I moved here when I was 25 and I had a series in Toronto called Boogie's Diner. And it was horrible. It was like Saved by the Bell. If you guys can find a Boogie's Diner reference, you should look it up because it's atrocious. It's just absolute craptacular.
How old were you when you did that? After 13?
I was like 23, 24. It was hilarious. Hold on, I'm bringing it up. Boogie's Diner. Because what's his name? Cyclops. What's the guy's name? Who plays Cyclops? James Marsden, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he was Jimmy Marsden back then because no one takes their name seriously until they make more than $1 million a year. So, yeah, so this, hold on a second. This was us. See if I can show it to you. So I'd had a series that ran for 55 episodes, and I had a series before that, which was for like PBS in Canada. Let me show you this.
Oh, there you are.
Very Saved by the Bell.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
very Saved by the Bell.
Or
Oh, my God.
Friends.
Yeah, and it was like we did like 2 to 3 episodes a week. It was a week with no live audience. The writing was horrible, but it was a great experience in the sense that you're doing it over and over and over and over, and you're having to learn comedy beats. And then I moved to California, and I did a couple of films, and I was doing some small and some big stuff. And really, you know, I hadn't done any sitcoms. I guest starred on a couple, and then when I got Titus, it was really an adventure in learning in the process. One of the things that we used to do all the time before the performances was like all week we were just rehearsing. And when we were between rehearsing on stage, we'd be in the green room just running lines, bam, 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 just speeding them and throwing an orange or a tennis ball back and forth nonstop, so that we could get it out of our mouths and into our bodies and feel comfortable with it. And then we'd come up with some interesting ideas. That's where you get to play with it. And so that was a really exciting experience. And I think the reason it worked is what David brought up is that there was an incredible level of vulnerability to the character of Dave. He was like your dog. He defended you and loved you. And that's why my hands were always in my back pockets with the chest out and the stomach open, because he was vulnerable to take the hits because he loved his brother and he loved his family, and that he was always meaning what he felt 100%. It made him very emotional, always on the brim. Like he might laugh or he might cry because he's very connected to the moment and a little wackadoodle. So yeah, it was incredible, dude, because you go into that, you don't know. If you haven't done this before, you haven't done it before. And I had done some of it before, but not like this. We didn't have a live audience and the energy. So it was a great learning experience. It was also freaking terrifying, man. You know, they had, when you're getting, remember this, David, that the network would be like, you guys are doing great in the ratings and you're 15 share average. And here's what that means. And it's huge. And you're beating, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and you're right underneath this show, and you're huge, and here's presents. And then the fear of that responsibility, when you don't really know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you're just kind of winging it and hoping nobody catches on. It was scary. Yeah. At certain moments, it was really effing scary. And
yeah, I agree. It was the first time that I learned of how you can get fired at a table read. I've watched actors come in, do the table read, and that was on a Friday. We come back Monday when there's a different actor. And you're like, what happened? They're like, they got fired. They didn't like him at the table read. So it's interesting. The job starts the second you walk in the door, not when you get on the set. Because people have been fired at table reads. For us, but to jump on Zach's point, yeah, the terrifying part was all this responsibility to just keep doing what you're doing. But as far as Zack and I were concerned, we had no other responsibilities, like just show up, be on time, know your lines, and be as funny as you possibly can. And that was our responsibility every week. You know, we didn't have anything to do with the executive producing. We didn't write, we didn't direct. So there's a part of that where it's like, you may have this much out of this much for the week, but you got to hit your stuff out of the park every single time, for studio run, for network run, because when it's written for a laugh and it doesn't get a laugh, it gets rewritten, and usually it's either taken away or given to somebody else.
And they blame you.
Yeah, and they blame you. So
yeah.
It's like, hey, it was funny at the read. Why wasn't it funny now? So even though it wasn't big parts, it was, you know, a lot of responsibility for young actors. Zack was younger when I was 31 or 32 when I got it, and all my stuff was theater, which is why I'm so big in the show, because I came out of New York with a master's degree, and then we moved there to California, and this first big gig was Titus, and I was a New York stage actor. So the medium of being smaller, I had to work on it, because you'll notice if you watch my stuff in the beginning, as I watched the episodes just to refresh myself for tonight, I'm like, God, I was loud, constantly loud. And I'm not loud in real life, sort of. You know?
And then you'd always stamp your foot. You'd always stamp your foot. It has to go over there, but what about this?
Yeah.
But it worked. It worked.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. So one of my next questions is, I know you rehearsed and you refilmed the Titus family show. What can we expect from that?
From tonight's show.
You can expect all your dreams to come true. The questions of life will be answered. If you're Muslim or Jewish or Christian or Buddhist, you'll find out what is the one true faith. And who is chosen by God, and on what side the apocalyptic war should be waged. So,
and who was in the grassy knoll.
Yeah, exactly. All that.
I mean, character closure.
Don't give it away. 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 It's Buddha. He was right all along.
It was better if he was Jewish.
Let's not pull that card. It's only Hollywood, okay?
It's at least all we can tell you, or I can tell you, is Titus was supposed to go away for 3 months. He came back a little longer than expected. So that's what happens when he comes back, how he was away for quite a while. So, and then what happens while he was gone. So I know it's vague, but there's some really good stuff in there I don't want to give away. And if you're a fan of the Tommy character, you know, he got a little comeuppance. Tommy got a little comeuppance in this one.
And do you think that this show is going to be pitched to networks or even Netflix to continue? Do you see that it could continue?
Absolutely. I think that if there's interest from the networks and they're looking for content that has a branded IP and a loyal following and has earned its stripes and has a good level of street cred with comedy, I think they should look into this. The reality is, any other show that they'd want to make from raw cloth would be raped in the media if it did the things that we have already done. So we can get away with shit that you can't do because we already did it.
That's what for the show. You got Christopher Titus, and for your content, you were ahead of the time, because when you put those together for domestic violence,
we're still ahead of the time now. You watch those shows; they're still funnier than anything on TV now, and they're still more edgy than anything now, and done in a way that's more balanced and not so what's the
teachy or edgy,
preachy. That's the problem. You watch Will and Grace. You watch Will and Grace, and you know that you're already gay friendly audience. You watch Jay Leno's Garage, you already know that you like cars. But people don't cross-pollinate those two because they niche market to a specific audience because they're afraid. There is no fear on the Titus show. Just be yourself. If you don't like it, change the channel.
Yeah.
Grow up and own your problems. But
No.
it pushes hard and it offends everybody equally and lets you know that we're all frail, weak, naked babes crying in the woods complaining about shit because we're trolls at heart. So yeah, we can do and still do more than most shows ever have.
Yeah, I agree, because I talked about the Tommy's Not Gay episode being prevalent today. The stuff that show deals with 20 years ago is still happening today, 100% across the board. Nothing's changed as far as the acknowledgement of LGBTQ, as far as homophobia, as far as bigotry. I mean, we just started talking about the Me Too movement and the stuff that was going in Hollywood with sexual attitudes in the workplace. That's 20 years later. So, it's still prevalent today. So the stuff might be a little bit like, ooh, I can't believe they said that 20 years ago. Saying it today might make you go, ooh, I can't. But the reason why you're doing this is because it's still out there. And now you don't want to talk about it. So, I agree with Zack. It's absolutely, this show is seamless. There's some outdated things, a couple of things, technology-wise, and phones and flip phones and stupid things. But as far as the gist of it, mental health, schizophrenia, content, it still has a stigmatism that is wrapped around society today. And we haven't gotten through it. And Titus talked about it 20 years ago, and it's still today. It could go, not on a network, but it could be worked right into something.
And now with the anniversary special, and this being the age of COVID, does that add another layer of difficulty or another layer of edginess to the show? Yeah,
there's no licking allowed of each other, which makes it hard to get a real vibe. No, I think it's a nice opportunity for people at home on a weekend to be able to do something that feels like an event. And spend $10 and get to have their whole family watch and enjoy it at their house and share an experience that unifies them and makes them laugh. So, unless you hate babies, and promote Nazism, otherwise it's a good idea, unless you're into that.
Right.
Not judging.
Dave, how is it for you doing a show in the COVID age?
This was the second one. I did a Zoom show from a friend of mine out of New York who was in the same boat, going, I got to just do something creative, and so got a bunch of people together to create this kind of Zoom show. I watched it, the first episode, and they did a great job. But you're tied. I will say this about the Titus show: the production values on this show, I think, are going to surprise you a lot, because even commercials in the COVID age, you can sit there and watch television and know which one is a COVID commercial and which one isn't, because there's hardly anybody in it. It's one person. It's a still set. It's one camera, and they're just trying to advertise something. But Titus went all out on this one. It's back to the 3-camera, actually 4 cameras, 4-camera sitcom style, cross back and forth, ABCD cameras.
It's called Presidium style, David.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
New guys. That's the newsies, yeah.
So, but production-wise, I think you're going to be I think you'll be very surprised at how much work was put into that to really give it a feel of like a really well-produced and thought out show. Zack, I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to interrupt you guys either, Randy, but we got to bust out by 3 because we have to be there by 3:30 for hair and makeup.
All right. So I think 2 more quick questions. So Matt,
sure.
Go ahead.
What do you hope that the audience will take away from this special? And do you hope to return in another 20 years?
God, I'll be dead. I just hope they take away that it was a fun time. It was a good ride. For those of you who had never seen it, there's 2 episodes that warm you up to what the show is about, and then you're in on the story for when the new episode airs. For those who have seen it, I mean, among my friends and the people that I grew up with, they're really looking forward to seeing it and seeing where everybody is and what happened 20 years. You know, we say 20 years because that's the length, but in the age of the show, what's next? And it leaves stuff open. You know, the last episode is I don't think it's a complete shutdown. I think it leaves something open. That's what I hope they get from it. From fans for comedy and from studios and stuff who are looking for content going, this is a built-in cast that already knows how to work together. So, and has content already.
Okay. Well, Matt actually took my last question, so that about wraps it up. And gentlemen, David, Zach, thank you so much for your time today. This was great.
Pleasure, man.
Congratulations on the show tonight. Congratulations on 20 years of brilliance, and hopefully another 20 years.
Yeah, I hope the next 20 years starts next year.
Well, are you guys going to watch the streaming event tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I'd be interested to see what you guys think of it.
Sure.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
We'll shoot you another email, Zach.
Okay, perfect.
Stay in contact. All right, guys. Well, thanks again.
All right.
And, thank you, everyone watching at home. Take care.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.